And we're recording. So in this part of the tutorial video, I'd like to show you opening the Play Java starter example on Turing in IntelliJ IDEA, which is an IDE which can understand Play projects. Particularly it understands Scala SBT projects, and the fact that Play projects are built with SBT means it will understand Play projects. But this means that we're going to need to install the Scala plugin. So right now I am at a shell that is in the directory that has build.sbt. I'm in Play Java starter example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do idea.sh to start IntelliJ IDEA. And I'm going to say dot to open the current directory as a project. Now I've removed my IntelliJ config so that this will be as if it's the first time that I've run IntelliJ. If you did the Scala unit last term, you might have the issue that in fact, you might have a previous version of the config lying around. And maybe the Scala plugin won't work with that. Well, at the moment I'm going to do this as if I'm doing this for the first time. So I'm going to do this, don't import the settings, and it's going to pop up the menu asking me to customize it, choose a theme. All right. Desktop entry, well, actually I'm not going to create a desktop entry. Launcher script, I'm not going to create a launcher script. I don't have permission to write into user local bin, I'm pretty sure. Default plugins, yeah, all right. Featured plugins, and we're going to see this cannot get featured plugins description online. IntelliJ is going to need to know my HTTP proxy details before it can get out through UNE's web proxy in order to get the Scala plugin. So I'm just going to say start using IntelliJ IDEA, but as it opens this up, it's not got the Scala plugin yet, so it's not going to understand this project yet. So I'm now going to need to go into the settings, and I'm going to need to go to plugins in the settings, and I'm going to want to say install a JetBrains plugin, and it's going to say nothing to show, but there'll be a button, HTTP proxy settings, and let's set manual proxy configuration, and it's proxy.une.edu.au, and it is on port 8080, and I need to tick for proxy authentication, and I'm going to give it my my details, and let's go check connection. And let's just check the connection to google.com.au, shall we? Yep, that seems happy. Okay. And again, it's asking me for credentials as it wants to go out through the proxy. And now it is downloading the list of plugins that are available. And the one I am looking for is the Scala plugin. And here it is. And I am going to install that. And it is downloading the Scala plugin. Okay, that looks like that's downloaded. Close, and let's click OK, and it's going to say restart IntelliJ IDEA to activate changes in plugins. Yep, let's restart that. And so now it has the Scala plugin, and it's loading the project. Because I opened it before, well, let's find out whether or not it has very quickly recognized, ooh, this is an SBT project. So we've got, we've got an icon on that suggesting that it sort of reckons it is. But it's not giving me the menus that I would expect it to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit out. I'm going to exit IntelliJ again, and I'm going to go ls-la to show all the hidden files, and you'll see this .idea. That was generated the first time I opened it. So let me remove -rm-rf. Be very careful with this. This deletes stuff recursively. You've got to be really careful that you're deleting the right thing. And the thing that I want to delete is the .idea directory in here, which is the description of the project that it created the first time before I had the SBT, the Scala plugin. And now I'm going to rerun idea.sh space dot and open the project, and hopefully this time it will ask me if I want to import it as an SBT project, and yes it does. And project JDK, well I need to tell it a JDK, so I need to set that up. And let me go and pick a Java 8 JDK. Open JDK in this case will be fine. 131 looks like the latest version. Alright, and let's click OK on that. And now it is opening this as an SBT project. What projects to import? I'm just going to click OK. Proxy details. Close the tip of the day. And now two processes running. What are they? Well, one of them is an SBT project. One of them is indexing lots of repositories that it can download libraries from. Look at all these libraries that it's indexing. And if you look, this will be too small for Echo 360, but if we upload this to YouTube, you can watch the high definition version, and you can see the .iv directory going by. As that is where it's putting the jar files, and it's indexing them so that it can do code assist as I call things inside the libraries that I have there if I want. And so I'm just going to wait while these processes finish, so the IDE is in a nice stable state. And it's just downloading the last few libraries. At least I hope it's the last few. Come on, hurry it up, hurry it up. Downloading, downloading, downloading. Thank goodness I put that repositories file in there, otherwise it would be having trouble getting out through the web proxy to get these libraries. There's quite a lot of them to download, aren't there? But this is Refreshing Play Java Starter Example SBT project. I tell you what, while that is going, let me nonetheless show you around. So let's expand the code. And so if we have a look in here, we can see app, and we can expand controllers, and we can open the count controller, and there is the code. And to start with, while it is still downloading dependencies, it will probably mark up lots of errors that it can't resolve things. That's because it's still downloading the dependencies, IntelliJ is. Down in here we can see the conf, and I can open my roots file, and there it is, just a little text file, the roots, but that of course gets compiled into the Scala code of the roots to compile against my code. And oh, what have we got? What have we got? We've got a failed project import. We've got something that it thinks didn't download. What does it think it didn't download? It thinks that find bugs didn't download. That might not matter. Let's find out. Find bugs is something for warning you about common errors in your code. It's a static analysis tool. So I'm not for the moment going to worry that it didn't find bugs. Okay, and now the red dashes have gone away. It seems happy with my imports. That's okay. In fact, that warning about find bugs seems to have disappeared as well. And if I go over into the right hand side into this SBT menu, if I change my imports, that blue button there is refresh this project in IntelliJ from the SBT definition. If I have a look in here, there's some tests, and these tests are unit tests, and I could run those from here. IntelliJ knows how to run unit tests. And to do this, it needs to prepare the Scala compiler, and so this is going to take it a moment. But I can start having a look around, and I can see the code that is going on. Okay, it's building that. It's running some tests that are defined in my test directory, and that all succeeded. Well, there was only one test, and it was to render a template. And it was to render the template that says your application is ready, but just as a string. So that's just a sample test there to show that you can write unit tests. Now, if I was to show you, if I explore in the target directory, The target directory is where SBT puts all its generated code. And so if we were to go mining under target Scala 212 classes, router roots, we would find some generated code off our roots file. So that just happens to be where it goes, and this code here is the code that I put onto the slide to show the generated code. But normally we don't need to look in there. That is all generated stuff, whereas we just need to deal with the source code. But so now I have my play project up in my IDE, and I can start editing it, and I can start, writing. Let's have a new action called foo, and that action is going to return OK of this just says foo. And I can save that, and now I have that. I can open a terminal from here if I want, and in my terminal I can open SBT, and then I have a convenient window just down here in which I can run my code, and so I can see the messages going by, and there is auto reloading is enabled, and oops, I've accidentally gone and started that on port 9000, not on port 50584. Alright, we're now listening on port 50584, and if I go over here and I hit refresh, and then it's going to recompile my code because I've edited my roots file, and so here it is recompiling it as the new requests come in, and I can start developing away. Okay, so that shows you getting set up with Play Framework for Java on Turing. Getting set up with Play Framework for Scala on Turing is almost identical, except you're going to clone the Scala project. But it's the Scala plugin, so it will understand the code, and the steps will be pretty much the same, except you're working in Scala. So I'm going to stop this video here, and a lot of the development examples I'm going to do on my laptop. You can, if you Macs are quite good at this because they've got a bash prompt, but you can do this on Windows as well. You can install all of the relevant things, Java, SBT, IntelliJ, for example, on your computer. You can develop locally on your computer, in which case you won't have to tackle the web proxy and issues around that we encountered along the way.